of discouraging from the speakers. Where's it coming from? Good, Kyle.
Yep.
All right, guys, it is 7 p.m., July 7th, 2025. This is the scheduled time and place for our city commission meeting. Got a small group, but we still have a quorum, so we'll start with our pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, guys, starting off with the minutes. We've got minutes from June 16th, 2025. That was a regular commission meeting. And June 26th, 2025, that was our special commission meeting minutes. Everything looks good there. We'll need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as posted for the normal meeting and special meeting. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve both sets of minutes. Move to a vote.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, motion carries. All right, commissioners report. Go ahead, Kyle.
So I guess in regards to 67 South 67th Street and South Front Street, Barry did go out and he did blade the roads. He's letting the grass die, and then he'll go back and he'll blade out the windrow across the road. And then we're waiting on Sunhagen Sand and Gravel to get the trucks available so they can dump rock. Possibly be able to get that done this week. He's gonna keep me in the loop. When I do hear, we'll put it on our Facebook page. That way the community knows about it. But possibly this week. There was a walk down on June 24th in regards to some 1-year correction period projects. Received a few phone calls in regards to some complaints about them projects kind of not getting done on a few items, punch list items. So I followed up with Josh on that. We'll continue with that. There was also a walk down with 3rd Street and Hanson Street reconstruction, same thing. There's some items, punch list items that need to be addressed there as well. So we'll keep the ball moving on them. In regards to the North Dakota Forest Service grant that we applied for, we did get a letter back from them saying that the city of Tioga has been awarded up to $16,224 for its 2025 tree project. So we did get approved for that. So there's more to come on that. We'll be getting the trees, getting them planted up and around the dam. That'll be a project for this coming year. We'll definitely be looking for public assistance with that. Someone has a tree for or a knack for planting, we'll definitely take your help. But there's more to come on that. And that's it. Thanks.
I don't have too much on my end yet, but it should be kind of a busy month. We have all the budgets to finish going over and complete, and community center expansion will be done soon, so we'll have to kind of reevaluate some stuff there. So there's stuff to come, but as of now, I don't really have much.
Okay, thanks, guys. On my front, we're still working through that Colbert property. That would be our easement to the proposed new park on the south side of the tracks, and also the access to that new area that could potentially get developed with housing. I had a purchase agreement put together, and just talking with Liz about it briefly, she reminded me that municipal sales contracts tend to have a little extra verbiage than what I put in it, so I'll be working with her on that to iron out those details and hopefully have that punched through the goal line before the next meeting for you guys to review. Kyle sent me some good pictures. I seen that the scoreboard was installed on the ball field over by the park. Looks outstanding. Looks like we need a little electrical work completed before we can fire it up, but good work by everybody that put that together. It looks a lot better at the field than it does sitting in the city shop. And then, like Jaden said, it's budget season. It's gonna be very labor intensive. A lot of sweat equity is gonna be going into this thing with all of our different departments. So I look forward to be very engaged with all that and kind of trying to find our operating rhythm for the city based off of our population. It's gonna be a really fun exercise, and I hope everybody enjoys it. And that is all for me. So moving on to modification or approval of the agenda. How's it look, guys?
I do have two items. So one would be the noxious weed spraying up around the dam. I would need to add, and then I believe Judy is here for talking about a flagpole possibly. So flagpole, I guess out on Highway 2 would be the two things I have.
All right, so we could go J&A spraying quote on new business number 6, flagpole, new business number 7, and then the consent agenda will just follow suit. So 8, 9, and 10.
I'll move to approve the agenda with the modifications of adding the dam spraying and the flagpole on 2.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the modified agenda with the 2 additional items. We'll move to a vote.
Yes.
Yes.
And motion carries. All right, old business, legal report. Hey, Liz.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. Hopefully you can hear and see me okay.
Very good.
All right, perfect. Well, hope everybody had a safe and happy 4th of July. I feel like I haven't spoken to everyone as a group in some time, which is probably true. I don't have a lot to add to tonight's report. I'll let you know that there are a series of depositions scheduled for the Benson Street matter next week. They're about 3 days committed to that. I've been working with Wendy, and I very much appreciate her help in scheduling the folks we'll need from Tioga. She's been very Johnny on the spot, and we're working on some dates to complete that balance of depositions in August. Once we get through those depositions, I'll have more reporting for the commission. Sometimes that yields greater clarity and course for the parties. That's a step ahead of trial, of course. So we're always mindful of settlement opportunities. If we can find a good exit ramp to litigation, we'll take it. But I won't know until we complete those tasks. Like Jaden and Brett and Kyle, I think I have quite a lot of irons in the fire at the moment. But they're irons in the fire. It's not a finished product. So I expect in coming meetings, I'm going to have some more updates and information about all kinds of things going on at the city. It's just too early to call or discuss at this point. So I'll be prepared to jump in on a couple spots on the agenda if you all need me. And I'll call it good with that.
Okay, thank you, Liz.
Thanks.
No problem.
All right, Mr. Carabello, you are up.
Good evening. I'm here to give an update on the chip seal project. So far, all the streets have been chip sealed. They were all fogged, and all the paint's been completed now. Actually, I know I put in this last week that's a majority, but actually they went and got the stop bars too. So the only thing we're waiting on now is over on Signal Road where they need to obliterate some of the old pavement markings. I have a pay app in front of you. It doesn't incorporate all that since a lot of that paintwork was done after the pay application. That won't show until the first meeting next month when we process our next pay applications. This pay application covers all of the fog, chip, as well as the turning lanes and the center line pavement markings. The majority of them just kind of missing the stop bars, the messages, and kind of the smaller pavement marking items. overall, we're projecting to come in under right now on the project. I don't see any reason why that won't occur when the only thing left is a short strip of obliteration left, so that's good news to hear. Tonight, what I'm looking for is a review of the pay application in front of you and ideally approval of it.
And the pay you're looking for, it's the current pay due, right?
Yep,
That
so
one.
it is the current pay due of $440,746.55 or $48.55, excuse me. The total work they've done to date is $463,943, but we keep that 5% retainage until the project's completed to your guys' satisfaction.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the current payout amount of $440,748.55.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve pay app number one, which is $440,748.55. Any questions on that? Any discussion? It looks outstanding, by the way.
Does look really good.
A lot of happy people.
Good, I'm glad to hear it.
Okay, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Nothing else tonight.
Thanks for everything you're doing on that. Like I said, it looks great.
Thank you.
Hey. Moving on to new business. We got a golf simulator quote for a couple.
Can you hear me? Is this on?
think,
I don't think it's.
we turned it off. It was. It's getting scratchy.
That okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as you probably already know, part of the expansion included relocating our existing golf simulators. It's been the plan from the get-go to move it from where it currently sits into its own room on the other side for various reasons. And last year I was given the task to seek out an estimate for, dismantling, relocating, reinstalling, and replacing some equipment. At that time, I got a quote of $10,000, and that was approved last June by that commission. But being that it's been a year, things change, and that has actually gone up $805. So that is the first option that I am seeking approval for. If that option isn't something you would like to move forward with, the second option would be moving forward just without replacing the screen. The turf, I was told recently, is not reusable since it's adhered to the floor. So we would have to replace that if it is relocated. And the fact that the room is ready for it, the electrical is done, all the wiring's done in that room. We've got people renting.
Big lift.
I can try to talk loud. Okay, so the second option would be moving forward without that screen, and that would be below this cost actually, because I'm waiting for them to give me the updated quote that does not include the pre-wiring kit. Since we're using our old wiring, we can reuse that. And the shipping would likely go down just a little bit. So that quote as of right now, before that's updated, is $9,875. Once you remove that kit, it's closer to like $9,300 before they deduct more shipping. We also have already scheduled the technicians to come out. We were told to reserve them 3 months in advance because it requires 2 of them and they come out of Canada. That's where our software system is from. But we have to make the payment by this Wednesday to ensure that they'll be here the last week of July. And the reason that we need them here the last week of July is because once they move that, because it's adhered to the floor, we have to get that quarter section of the room repolished from the residue on the floor. And then the north and west wall would have to be painted because they tore out that walkway. So a couple of things to think about, I guess, if you want option one or option two. So I guess I'm seeking approval initially for option one, which is only $805 more than the original amount I was approved last year.
So it's gotta get moved one way or the other. It's got a special room in the expansion just for it.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the quote, for 10,805.
I should add that we already have plenty of money still in the FFP for this item.
I'll second that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve. It's quote number ending in 824-1. That's the amount of $10,805. Any discussion on that?
It's gotta get done.
Gotta get done. Move to a vote.
Yes.
Yes,
Motion carries.
And the last item that I have, so I did speak with Jaden about this a little bit. We have had a full-time position open for some time that we are looking to fill, and I would like to get somebody hired and trained in before the expansion is complete if possible, which means I have to start advertising like this week or next week. The starting wage, after discussing with Wendy, could be somewhere between $19.47 an hour and $20.44 an hour, depending on their experience. So I am looking to get a motion for approval to start advertising.
there's one concern that I have. Switching to, or hiring another full-time is, be a big expense for, oh, why am I blanking on the word?
Benefits.
Benefits
Yeah.
is like gonna be a huge increase, like very substantial. That's my only kind of like hang up on it after kind of looking at things after we talked the other day. So I mean, I'm not necessarily against it, but that is something to consider. Would we be better off just going for more part-time? Or would that,
The thought has crossed my mind. I know we've talked about hiring part-timers. We don't want to get too many just part-timers either, you know, because it's harder to get people to apply for part-time than it is full-time. There's obvious reason for that. I will say that for, I don't know, the last 3-4 years, there's always been 2 full-timers and 2 part-timers. Just something to keep in mind. I am open to having more discussion on just doing a part-timer for now, but eventually we're still gonna need full-time.
We're gonna discuss this. We're gonna need a motion in a second, and we can open it up for discussion and talk about it at length, in depth. Or it's you just wait on, if you want time to think about it.
well, I'll move to approve approval for hire, just so we can have some discussion on it. I'll move forward with it.
To advertise.
Yeah,
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the advertisement for a full-time employee for the community center. Now we're open for discussion. Jaden, your motion, you can go first.
well, I just feeling you guys out. What do you think? I mean, like I said, that's the one hang up on it, is it's gonna cost a lot more in benefits. So,
All right,
but if it's needed, it's needed, but I guess there's so many unknowns at this point, we just don't really know.
you said up to 20.44 an hour,
Correct.
so that would be 42,515.20 annualized. But to Jaden's point, that's the thing, the benefits that we offer, the city of Tioga offers, because we pay the contribution to PERS, plus the employee side of that, plus health, dental, vision, the whole nine. It's 40 grand. So that position would then be up to $82,515, essentially.
Sure. So question, if we did not hire a full timer, would you then be open to hiring 2 part-timers just so we can have more coverage?
We don't, we're not certain what the usage is gonna be yet. I bet it's gonna be, I mean, it's a shiny new thing. It's gonna get used right off the rip. How do we gauge if that's gonna taper off or if this is the new standard? Is it gonna get used like the existing community center? And my concern, guys, is if we hire another person, whether it's full-time or a couple part-time, and the traffic going into the community center, even with the expansion, doesn't go up, is that something that's sustainable long-term? I mean, I've been a part of layoffs when things slow up and they're awful. That's one of the more awful things you'll ever have to do in your career if you're managing people is having to say, look, we're not busy enough. We have to let you go when they didn't do anything wrong. That will torment your soul. So my vantage point, I think it would be better just to wait and gauge to see the usage rather than brace for what we think is gonna happen, and it might not happen.
I also think we just need to wait. We can see how things go after the opening and kind of gauge it from there and kind of see how things are. And I guess the one question I have is the librarian and the part-time librarian or however that is, are they crossed at all? I mean, because I think we need to kind of cross-train everyone. I mean, because there's times where you might be busy or they might be free and they can do a few items and instead of, I think we can be more beneficial by doing that. And if it comes down to where we need someone, okay, we can go down that road, but I think we just need to wait is, I guess, what I would like to see.
I mean, you make some valid points. I do think that's a conversation that Sandy should probably be included in as far as like cross-training, because the library board has a lot of control over that side of things. Another thing to consider or keep in mind is that we're gaining 30,000 square feet. That's a lot of area for one office person to monitor at a time. And there could be a lot of different things going on. I mean, the whole point is to be able to do more things at one time as far as rentals and events and that kind of thing. So I would hate for limited staff to also get more burnt out than they already are. And that probably sounds silly to somebody on the outside who doesn't see day-to-day stuff. But it's a lot more than just monitoring the building. There's a lot of upkeep and maintenance and all that, everything that goes in there with that. So please keep that in mind too.
So as far as the coverage is concerned, is it being able to keep it all cleaned or monitoring it or both?
It's both. And so just for example, right now, I'm the only full timer. So when I come in the morning, it's usually quietest, especially during the school year. So that's the easiest time to get things done. But then that takes me away from office duties. So here I am doing the work of multiple people and not focusing on my own. And then if I do set aside tasks to leave for the other girls, sometimes they feel like their plate is too full and that they're getting burnt out, not understanding everybody's role and what they're supposed to be doing.
How many people on average go to the community center day over day?
I'd have to look back on my notes. I used to take really good track of that. I haven't since the presentation I gave, but I can sure get that.
Is it like a lot, over
It
50,
depends on
over
what
50 a day?
During the fall, yes. Fall and winter, spring are our busiest time of year. Summer's not so much. That's
Right
what
now, there's not many people.
no, we limit our hours in summertime.
And that's another thing, maybe we need to look at adjusting hours. You know, I talked to Haley a little bit about maybe running a Facebook poll and finding out from the community, like, what hours do you want your building open? And then we can staff according to what the community wants, because, you know, Reality is we work for them and we all understand that, we know that, and we want it to make the most sense for them. And then we staff based off of what they want.
If we were ever gonna do that, now would probably be the time to do it when we're going into this deal. So that's not a bad idea.
Well, that, and it's kind of a moving target right now, because it's a lot of unknown. I know it's a lot different because we're talking about staff, but remember when, Mr. Anderson asked us to pay off the existing community center loan? And at the time, our interest rate at the bank was higher than what our interest was for the note, so it didn't make sense. We were in a net positive position. We wanted to stay that way, but we did promise that we would always evaluate it. Guess what we did? We watched it like a hawk, and it dropped well below what our interest rate was for the community center. I'm saying our bank interest rate. So we made the motion to pay it off. So it could be one of those things like tonight, July 7th, we think it's best to wait, but monitor it closely. If things change and 100 people every day start rolling through that expansion, gosh, I hope they do. I really, really hope they do. That's a lot of money and a lot of square footage that would just not get used. And at that point, we can pivot and staff.
And it'll probably even change, yet again, once it's rolling for a while, because it's always easier to clean a new building. But once it starts getting, broke in and stuff, then it's, then it's like, well, it's more realistic, like what you're gonna see for forever at that point, so.
And to your point, Kyle, we gotta look at ways to cross-train. We've got two entities using one building that's funded by the city. We gotta look at a way of utilizing the whole staff, because right now, we actually have what? 3 times more people working in the community center than we do the water department. So there's gotta be opportunity to cross-train. But we're gonna know a whole lot on August 7th. And I do hope that that building gets used, like, the grand opening's gonna be fun, I hope. And I hope it sustains that way, so then we can come back and talk about staffing and be able to put, head count to usage numbers. All right, so we still have that motion and second for approving the advertisement of a full-time hire for the community center. Is there any more discussion on that?
One thing, I will say, don't be surprised if you get pushback on the cross-training thing from other individuals. Because I'm sure if they're not going to be making a little more worthwhile for them to cross-train as far as like higher wage, there might be more pushback on that, understandably.
Well, I think one thing that I've learned is pushback is, I don't love it, I don't like confrontation, but when one shows up, I welcome it.
Yeah.
So if pushback comes, we'll deal with that, and actually, in a lot of cases, I welcome it, because then you really get down into the weeds on what underlying issues are.
I wonder if we should have you come meet with us at some point to discuss that openly with everybody.
Yeah,
I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, it's all city funds, right? It's a city building.
Well, it's kind of no different than the streets and water. I mean, a lot of them guys they are cross-trained, not to the same level as far as checks and rounds like the normal water guys do, but they at least, I mean, if they're asked to go to the water tower, they know where
Right.
how to get in there, what they're looking for, things like that. Same goes for like the street side. If something needs to be done, it can be done. Does it happen every day? No, but
Right.
that option is there. And that's what we need to be open-minded about.
Sure.
Yeah, and to that point, the streets guys have come down to the community center to help blast and blow snow. So, I mean, that's kind of one of the perks of living in a small town is everybody knows where everybody's at and can help everybody at all times.
Second is like my maintenance crew.
All right, guys, still have the motion and second. Any more discussion on it? Okay, we'll move to a vote.
No,
No,
Okay, that motion fails. Oh, Stephen, I'm sorry, I didn't see that you were on. You want to throw a vote in there? Okay, I'll go from Stephen. It's on mute.
Well, I mean, it'd be a good idea to have a meeting and maybe just rehash it after that meeting, see how that goes.
Okay. Right,
Your good questions.
all right, moving on, number 5, portfolio assignments, so. This is a me ask out of you guys, because there's. One thing that we have kind of identified is. All of our employees kind of have their chain of command in Tioga. The way we're structured, the street guys go to Kirk, they go to Kyle. City Hall, that all runs through you, water runs through Steven, but we've got like the community center, we've got zoning and planning, we've got these different groups that don't necessarily fall underneath the commissioner. They've always historically just gone through the auditor. And we wanted to make it a point that when we brought in a new auditor, we didn't follow the same playbook as the previous version, to where the auditor shouldn't have to be managing groups, right? We don't want that. We want them focused on their job and working very hard at their job. So what I wanted to pitch to you guys, because I don't have any specific group that rolls up to me, if you guys would be willing to let me assume those assignments, the community center staff, zoning and planning staff. And Liz, you might need to interject if we have to do anything org chart related, or if that's even doable. I know it's probably it's not the norm in most municipalities, but it's something I'm definitely willing to do just to keep that confusion out of things.
Well, I think you're right, Brett, and we tentatively discussed that. I'm actually very much in favor of what you're proposing, subject to, of course, the opinions and workload of the other commissioners, but I tend to agree that it's not very helpful to the city at large not to have a chain of command and a commissioner assigned to help with those various departments. And I also tend to agree, not that you're not busy enough, you're plenty busy, but that you don't yet have any particularized portfolio assignment while the other fellows do. And so it seems to me it would be somewhat natural for those to fall to you if the other commission members agree. And there's nothing that disallows you to have a portfolio. So I thought it was a good idea, subject to the weigh-in of the other commissioners.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where like zoning and planning, would that fall under street? I don't know. I guess it would kind of be a fit, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. Or the community center falling under the finance department. Yes, we make do. That's what we do. We help each other out. We wear a lot of different hats, but just from a structure perspective, it'd be nice to have some delineation there.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with doing that.
Okay.
Cause I think too, the chain of command is nice. That's a nice, way to set yourself up and follow.
I would have to agree. I think the water has been kind of muddy as far as who goes to what and the chain of command directly, and it hasn't really been definitive. And I think we need to clear things up, get the chain of command in proper order and go that route. I'm all for it. I have plenty on my plate, so I'm definitely all for that.
You have a lot on your plate. All right, Stephen, do we have you yet?
I would agree. I think I'm for that as well.
All right, Liz, do we need a formal motion on that?
I think you probably should, and you guys can modify portfolios whenever you wish at a portfolio review. That's totally allowed. So if it sounds like you all agree, someone just needs to move to assign the planning and zoning / community director and community center portfolios to the commission president, if that's where you're leaning.
Well, I'll move to designate those portfolios of the planning and zoning and the community center and it's kind of the library too, huh, Brett? Or is that kind of,
I still don't know how all that works. I would think it makes sense just to keep it clean for now, just to do
Okay.
zoning and planning and community center.
okay, well, I move that we designate the portfolios of the planning and zoning and community center to our commission president.
I second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second to designate the portfolio assignments of zoning and planning position and the community center to the commission president. Does that sound good? Any discussion on that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, honestly, sometimes it might work out better that way because this is kind of a busy year for me, both with work and with budgets and stuff coming up, so definitely not opposed to that.
I'll just say, I do think it's a very odd situation. Because typically, I mean, every entity has a spot. It's a pretty clear direction towards which commissioner you report to. But I absolutely do not like leaving people hanging, and I think in a lot of cases, those two departments could be left hanging, not knowing which direction to turn. And knowing you guys, because I've got to work with, well, you for a year and you for half a year, I know you're just gonna pick up whenever somebody needs help, you're just gonna pick up the slack. Which also leads to more muddy waters. You don't really know, because if Kyle's gonna help you all the time, well, I'll just go to Kyle. Well, community center doesn't fall under the streets. Or if Jaden's there to help, you're just gonna go to Jaden. And then after a while, it gets really confusing. And like I said, this is just a good way to put something on paper to lay out crystal clear direction. All right, so we still have that motion and second for the portfolio assignments. Stephen, do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that'll work out good.
Move to a vote.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
Okay, motion carries. Number 6, J&A spraying quote.
So it was brought to my attention, I kind of fell behind the 8 ball on this, but it was brought to my attention that Justin Nelson in the years past has sprayed for leafy spurge up and around the dam. So he contacted, Jason Steele contacted me today, and he gave me a quote. So this quote, he's asking for $2,500 at a maximum. He's thinking it'll be less than that with what he's looked around there for how much we gotta spray, but he's looking for $2,500 for no more than that for spraying leafy spurge around the dam.
So a not to exceed.
Correct.
Okay.
So I make a motion to accept J&A lawn spraying service not to exceed $2,500.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the quote from J&A Lawn Spraying Service for the noxious weeds, not to exceed $2,500. Any discussion on that?
Nope, needs to get done.
Move to a vote.
Yes.
Yes,
yes,
Okay, motion carries. Number 7. Judy?
Okay, in 2002, when we had our centennial and our all-school reunion, we had funds left over. So that's when we put the landscaping and the flagpole out on 40 and 2. And at that time, Susan and Arlen Thorson owned that property. And they were gonna give us a portion of it. Dan and Darlene were the auditors and deputy at that time. And it just never got done. And I only found that out just like a couple of years ago when this Thomas company bought the property, or I'm sure they bought it before that, but that's when I found out they bought it. Prior to that, I thought we owned it. So, we put the landscaping in and everything, and Kirk talked to him last year, or a couple of years ago, I guess. And what happened was we were coming home from Minot and saw these big trucks plugged into the electricity out there. So I wrote a note and I said, you are stealing electricity from the city of Tioga. Well, they immediately called the auditor's office the next morning and let them know that they weren't, because the city actually was paying the bill, I suppose. So really they were, but it was their property. So anyway, now the flagpole is done very well. Lasted, 22 years, and it's broke. So we haven't had a flag for quite a while. So the all-school reunion, we got a quote from the flagpole guy to put a new flag up there, which cost about $6,000. It's a different type of flag. It's more commercial than the one flagpole, than the one we had there. But the problem is now the light that we had out there to light up the flag and the sign, the mice have eaten the wires, I guess. So I don't have the authority to ask Thomas if it's okay to trench in a new line out there for electricity. So I was wondering if one of you would call them and ask them. And I'm sure the all-school reunion would fund that also.
Yeah, I'll call them. We might even get lucky and find out there's conduit in the ground. Pull new wire.
Still don't know. But it hasn't been working for a while, so we really don't feel right about putting a flag out there without a light.
Yeah, I'll
So,
get all over that.
okay,
You said it's Thomas?
I'm sorry,
It's Thomas that,
is it Thomas Trucking? I can't really remember their official name. Thomas something or other, but it is on the map who the owner is
Okay.
of that. I mean, the city's been maintaining this property out there since 2002. They do a good job of mowing. And I guess the other thing would be is once if we get to put a new flagpole up there, if we could continue to do that, and if the city would buy the flags going forward. I mean, I've had fundraisers to buy flags for out there before, so if I need to, I guess I will, but,
I think that's an easy ask for these guys.
excuse me?
I think that's an easy ask for these guys.
Okay.
No, I definitely like the idea. I guess I make a motion that we proceed with pursuing, contacting Thompson to get electrical, or Thomas, excuse me, to get electrical back out there. And we'll pay for the flags for the future.
And maintain.
Yeah, and keep maintaining property.
And maybe when you talk to them, like, I don't.
They just wanna sell it to us.
They have that little
Yeah.
landscaping area out there, if that's okay with them. I don't want it to ever happen that they come and say to remove it, or if they sell it, because at one time it was for sale. So I don't know what what the future brings for that. really either, so.
Well, I'll just reach out to them and start that relationship. Make sure we get out on the right foot and understand that line in the sand, and maybe we can just kind of bridge that gap.
Yeah.
I'm sure they wonder too, like,
Yeah.
why are we paying property tax on a sign that we don't own? And lights, a flag, like, I get it, it's gonna go both ways, and
Yeah.
so this will be easy, I hope. All right, so how, let's run through that motion again.
So,
Or do we even need to have a motion on that? Right now, we've got $0 committed to it.
Yeah, I don't think you need a motion. I think you're at liberty to explore and communicate with the owner. And I'll throw this out too, if they're reluctant to sell, maybe the other option is considered a use-based easement. It sounds like the property has a long history of being used. And that way, if the city ceased to use it, it would revert to the landowner. But that way the city would always have a right to use it for that given purpose. So I just put that out there because I know sometimes people get worried about carving up chunks of land. It's an idea, but you don't need a motion for that purpose now.
We'll get after it.
Thanks.
You guys, I guess we're on to the consent agenda. So we got payroll for 7/7/25, the July bills, and then the April and May financials.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion on that? Move to a vote?
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. We don't have any other business, and we are making record time here. Want to talk? We want to adjourn. Pull the
Make a
trigger.
motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to adjourn. We'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. We are adjourned at 7:46 PM. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Liz.
Thank you.